Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, students? Today we are going to start chapter number 4, integers, exercise 4C, and we have completed the addition and subtraction of integers, and now we are heading towards multiplication and division. In this very exercise, we are going to deal how to multiply two integers. Okay, students. So it's a bit easier then addition and subtraction. All we need to do is we are just going to multiply the integers as we used to do while doing the whole numbers, while multiplying the whole numbers. It's the same way we have to do it here. So part A is 5 multiplied by minus 7. So we will just multiply 5 by 7. We will get a 35. Then we are going to multiply the signs as well. If an integer is positive and the other one is negative, the answer would be negative. Positive negative gives a negative sign. Okay? Negative negative gives us a positive sign. So the signs would get changed according to the signs of both the integers. If both are negative, the answer would be positive. If both are positive, definitely both would be the answer would be positive. If one is positive, the other is negative, the answer would be negative. Similarly, if the first one is negative and the other one is positive, the answer would be negative. So in two cases, the answer would be positive. Means if the signs are same, the answer would be positive. But if the signs are different, the answer would be negative. So here in the case of part 1, 5 and 7 have opposite signs. 5 is positive, 7 is negative. So the answer would be negative. Simple, right? Then part B. Part B says minus 8 multiplied by 3. So 8 threes are 24 plus minus minus. So the answer would be negative. Then part C. Minus 9 minus 4. When there is a bracket, when there are two integers and they are enclosed in a bracket, it means the two integers are multiplied to each other. The bracket tells us that the numbers are multiplying by each other. Okay? So 9 fours are 36. Minus minus plus, so the answer would be positive. Okay, so don't get confused by the negative signs. These negative signs are of the integers. It has nothing to do with subtraction. Because of this brackets, you have to multiply the two integers. Okay, students? If the case would be minus 9 minus 4. Now this is different. Here the minus sign is outside of the bracket. So we have a positive sign inside. These signs would get multiplied and it would change by negative. Now this case is altogether different from this one that is given in part C. Here we have to multiply 9 by 4 because both are enclosed in the brackets. But here we have to add these two integers. 9, 4 gives us 13 and sign of the greater number. Okay, so there is a difference between the two and you have to keep this in mind. Then we have part D. Part D is minus 716. That's what I was telling you. When you have two different signs inside and outside of the bracket, the signs get multiplied too. So minus minus gives us a positive sign and it would turn into positive 716. It's basically minus 1 minus 716. So minus 1 is getting multiplied to minus 716. And whenever we multiply a number by 1, the answer is the same as the number. But here the signs will also get multiplied, so the answer would be positive. Okay, students? Okay. Now let's move to part E. Part E says minus 1 multiplied by minus 697. So here we have a minus 1 and we have to multiply it to another negative integer. Both are negative. 1 multiplied by 697 gives us 697 and then minus minus turns into a positive sign. So it would be positive 697. So you have to keep in mind that when two integers which are negative, both are negative, then they will give a positive product. Okay, when we multiply two numbers, we get a product. So if two integers are negative, we will get a positive product of the two integers. Then we have minus 11, no sign in between, and then a bracket. When there is a sign inside of the bracket, it means minus 11 is multiplied to minus 8. This bracket indicates that there is a multiply sign hidden. Okay, so we have to multiply 11 by 8. The answer would be 88, minus minus plus. So the answer would be positive 88. Okay. Then we have part G, minus 6 multiplied by 0. So we have already learned whenever a number is multiplied by 0, for example, 1 into 0 is equals to 0, 3 into 0 is equals to 0, 100 into 0 is equals to 0. Whenever a number is multiplied by 0, it gives a product of 0. It makes everything 0. So it won't be positive or negative because 0 is not an integer. It would be it would be a 0. Simple. Then we have part H. 42 minus 2. Again, we have a bracket and we have a minus sign inside of the bracket. It means 42 is multiplied to this minus 2. 42 multiplied by 2 gives us 84 plus minus minus. So the answer would be minus 84. Okay, students? Okay, let's move to question number 2. While in question number 1, we were multiplying two integers. In question number 2, we have to divide the first integer by the second one. Whenever you are provided with such situation, all you need to do is just turn your division into a fraction. What it means? Minus 12 upon 4. This way it becomes easier, okay? So all you need to do is just simplify this fraction and you will get your answer. 4 ones are 4, 4 threes are 12, minus plus. Again, the same condition is here. If one of the integer is positive, the other one is negative, the answer would be negative. If both are positive or both are negative, the answer would be positive. So here 12 is negative, 4 is positive, the answer would be negative. Minus 3 is the answer. Okay. Then we have part B, 16 divided by minus 2. We will write it as 16 in the numerator, minus 2 in the denominator. 2 ones are 2, 2 eights are 16. After simplifying, we get the answer 8. And this minus sign will be carried forward because plus minus gives a minus sign. So answer would be minus 8. And keep in mind, if the denominator is 1, we don't need to write it down. Okay. Next, we have part C, minus 18 in the bracket divided by minus 9. So these minus signs belongs to the integer. It has nothing to do with subtraction. How we are going to write it down? Minus 18 in the numerator, then divide sign turns into an upon, and then minus 9 in the denominator. Minus minus will be cut and 9 ones are 9, 9 twos are 18. So answer would be positive. So you see, if both the integers are negative, in the cases of multiplication or division, we will get a positive answer, right? In multiplication, we will get a positive product. In division, we will get a positive quotient. These answers to the division are called quotient. Okay? You should memorize these terms. The first number that is being divided is called dividend. And by whom it is divided is called a divisor. Okay? The first one is dividend and the other one is divisor. And the answer to this sum is called quotient. Then we have part D, minus 14 upon 7, right? It's already given in the fraction form, so you don't need to convert it into fraction. Just simplify it. 7 ones are 7, 7 twos are 14, plus minus minus, the answer would be minus 2. Same with party, it is again in a fraction, 45 upon minus 5. Now the sign of minus is in denominator. In part D, the sign was with the numerator. Now it's in the denominator. Again, we have one of the numbers positive and the other one negative. So we will get the same answer. That is the negative one. 5 ones are 5, 5 nines are 45. The answer would be minus 9. And then part F, minus 18 upon minus 3. Both are negative. So minus minus will be cut down. 3 ones are 3, 3 6 are 18. So answer would be positive. So you see how simple multiplication and division both are. The next question, question number 3 says, find the positive and negative factors of each of the following numbers. Before heading towards the actual question, let us first understand what are factors. For example, 12. 12 is a product of 1 and 12. When I multiply 1 by 12, it becomes 12, right? Similarly, 12 is a factor of 2 and 6. So these are called the pair factors, right? Then we have 3 and 4 factors of 12. If I multiply 3 by 4, I'll get 12. So these are basically the factors of 12. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 factors of 12. We can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 are all the factors of 12. So this is how we find out the factors of a given number. Okay, so factor is basically a number that divides a given number completely without leaving any remainder. If I divide 12 by 1 or by 12 or by any of these factors, we will not get any remainder. It will be completely divided and there won't be any remainder. So these are called the factors. For composite number, we have more than 2 factors, that is 1 and itself. There are more than 2 factors. At least there are 3 factors. But for the composite numbers, we have only 2 factors. Okay? So if I multiply 1 by 23, we will get 23. There are no more factors for prime numbers. So these are called prime numbers. For example, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23. These are all prime numbers and there are infinite prime numbers because these numbers have only 2 factors. One of their factor is 1 and the other one is themselves. Okay, so we have only 2 factors for prime numbers. So now let's find out the positive and negative factors of each of the following numbers. If we have a positive number, so it could be a product of 2 positive numbers. For example, 1 into 12 is equals to 12. And similarly, if I multiply negative 1 by negative 12, I'll get 12. Because minus minus will cut down and it will also yield a positive answer. So we could have both positive and negative factors of a given number. So I can say that the positive and negative factors of 12 would be plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, plus minus 4, plus minus 6, and plus minus 12. We will write down all the factors of 12 with both the signs, positive and negative. Okay, students? Next number is 23. For 23, we have only 1 and 23 are the factors. But if there is minus 23, can we have both positive and negative factors? Yes. For example, if I'll multiply 1 by negative 23, I'll get negative 23. And same with if I have minus 1 multiply by positive 23, I'll also get the same answer, that is negative 23. So in this case, we have positive and negative, both the factors of 23 as plus minus 1 and plus minus 23. Next, we have part C. Okay. Part C is 16. So let us find out all the factors of 16 first. 1, 2, it's an even number, so 2 is its factor. And then 3 is not a factor of 16. 16 is not divisible by 3. So 3 is not a factor of 16. So what's next? 4. 4 fours are 16. And then 8 is also a factor of 16. 8 twos are 16. And then we have the last factor as 16. So we will write it as plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 4, plus minus 8, plus minus 16. And the reason is the same as we told you in the part A. Okay? Because if the integers, both the factors, the pair factor would be positive, it will yield a positive product. And if both the factors are negative, it will also yield a positive product. So the factors would be both positive and negative. For part D, 1. What could be the factors? 1 is a unique number that is neither prime nor composite. And why is this so? Because 1 has only one factor, and that is 1 itself. So if I multiply 1 by itself, we only get 1. So 1 could have two factors, positive and negative 1. Because minus 1 into minus 1 also gives us a positive 1. Minus minus will cut down and you'll get a positive 1. So 1 has also two factors in terms of positive and negative, one positive and one negative. So 1 has two factors, a positive 1 and a negative 1. Now question number 4. Write down a positive and a negative multiple of each of the following numbers. Part A. What are multiples? Multiples are the numbers when we multiply an integer by a whole number, it gives a multiple of that number. For example, if we multiply 5 by 1, we get 5. So 5 is a multiple of 5. So each and every number is a multiple of itself. The first multiple of every number is itself. And if we multiply 5 by 2, what do we get? We get 10. Similarly, if I multiply 5 by minus 1, I'll get minus 5. And if I multiply 5 by minus 2, I'll get minus 10. So we have to write down a positive and a negative multiple of each of the following numbers. That is, one each, a positive and a negative multiple. Similarly, if I go on, 5 multiplied by 3 is equals to 15 and 5 multiplied by minus 3 is equals to minus 15. So we could have both positive and a negative multiple of 5. And we could write it as multiple of 5 as 10 and minus 10, or 15 minus 15. So both could be its multiples. When it comes to minus 8, if I multiply it by 1, I get minus 8, the same answer. But if I multiply it by minus 1, what will I get? I will get positive 8. So in this case also, I could have both a positive and a negative multiple of 8. Same with any other number. If I multiply it by 2, I'll get a negative 16. But if I multiply it by negative 2, I'll get a positive 16. So the multiples of 8 could be both positive and negative. I could write it 8 multiplied by 3 is equals to 24 and minus 24. So these are the two products of 8 or multiples of 8. So the product is basically a multiple of its factors. Okay, students. Next we have minus 17. Minus 17 is a prime number, but prime numbers has a lot of multiples. A number has a lot of multiples, or you can say every number has an infinite number of multiples. So if I multiply 17 by 1, I'll get minus 17. But if I multiply it by minus 1, I'll get a positive 17. Similarly, minus 17 into 2 is equals to minus 34. But if I multiply it by a negative 2, I'll also get a positive 34. So I can write the multiples of 17 could be 34 and minus 34. You can write down any of the multiples of 17 of your choice. Okay. Next we have 0. If I multiply 0 by any number, any whole number, I'll get 0. It means that we do not have any of the multiples of 0 because they are asking us to write down a positive and a negative multiple of 0. But while multiplying 0 by any positive or negative number, we are only getting a 0, and 0 is neither a positive or negative integer. We learned it in the very first lesson of integers that 0 is a number, 0 is a whole number that is neither included in positive nor included in the negative integers. And they are asking us to write down a positive and a negative multiple of each of the following numbers. But since 0 is neither positive nor negative, so what will we are going to write down here that 0 has no positive or negative multiple. So or you can write down, since 0 is a whole number, and by definition a multiple is any number that results where a whole number is multiplied by a counting number. So if we multiply 0, a whole number, by any counting number such as 1, 2, 3, or as we have written down here and so on, the result will be 0 always. And 0 is neither a positive or a negative multiple. So we couldn't have a positive or a negative multiple in this case. Okay, students.